Preseason camp has been great in 2023. We have a lot of guys back, and something unique here is we have all 11 starters on offense back. I've never had that before where you return all the starters on a unit. So with all that experience, it has made for a smooth camp thus far. And the same thing on defense. We have a lot of returning guys. Two of our captains are on defense, and in special teams as well. Our long snapper is a fifth-year guy, has done a great job of leadership with that group. So I would say with how much we have returning, it's been a group that has been professional in everything they've done. They know the expectation. It's been a great camp here in 2023. We have an offense that finished actually at the top of the conference last year in total offense, led the league in rushing, and it starts up front. To have all 5 of those guys back is pretty special. And it starts in the middle. Brady Brungard, he does so much for us just to get us in the right situation, the right check, and then next to him on each side, Nate Brady and Vinny LaPre. Both of them guys have been starting since their freshman year, so having all that experience at guard and then at tackle. Dalton Four and Dylan Lane return, and I'll also put in this group our fullback, Robert Tamburino, has been starting since his freshman year. So not only all 5 linemen, but the fullback behind them have played a lot of games together, and that's where it starts for our offense. Logan had a tremendous sophomore season, actually led the conference in passing yardage and did a lot of great things, leading us to a bowl win. And it's neat to see him now really mature. I think now heading into his junior year, we're able to put a lot more on his plate at the line of scrimmage and put more decision making on his shoulders, and he's responded very well with that. And one thing that he's really excited about is all of his main targets are back. We returned Scott Frazier, who was a first-team all-conference receiver, Ryan Heckathorn, Ryan Lenhart. So not only do we have Logan back, but a lot of his main targets. It's a good problem to have as a coach when you have a number of guys that you say, I wish I could get them the ball more, because as I look at it, I believe we have multiple running backs that can carry the load. It starts with Nico Flatty, one of our leading rushers the last couple years, and he's more of a patient runner, find the hole, and then Clayton Parrish, who's more of a double fullback, run right at you type of guy, and then Joey Guida, who when you spread things out, you're really good at making one cut and getting vertical. So those 3 running backs complement each other well. And then Ian DeMary, as a freshman last year, put up some good yardage as well. So many guys that we will enjoy getting the ball to this season. Our defensive line, it starts with Bryce Spoltnick and Kobe Bonanno. They're returning starters from a year ago, and Kobe will be bumping down into the nose position with the graduation of James Perenni. So those 2 we're very excited to have back after having really good sophomore campaigns last season. And a lot of different guys are going to be in the mix at that other DN position. A name to keep an eye on, Jordan Karcheski. He has had a really good camp and has really now heading into his sophomore year have an understanding of what we need to do in the D-line. Joe Samelka, J.D. Black, I could go on and on. There's a number of D linemen we believe who can be on the field and do big things, and that's not even counting some of our freshmen, but our D line certainly starts with Kobe and Bryce. Yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about the linebacking corps, to think how we graduated 2 4-year starters at linebacker, and then you look at it and you think, wow, we still have the all-time sack leader in college and program history back, and the rookie of the year in the conference. So Ben Bladel and Ryan Fleming, yeah, excited to have both of them back and just the problems they cause for opposing offenses. And there's so much depth to compete for that open spot at linebacker. Jack Jolly has been a guy who had a great spring, and you'll see him a lot this fall. And then Cole DeFilippo, he's a returning player that's also a captain for us, and he's played a number of places for us. He'll be there at linebacker. Seth Rosenberry has been in big games as well. So a really deep linebacking core headlined by Ben Bladel and Ryan Fleming. Starting at safety with the secondary, Trevor Beck, he's been a multi-year starter. He started at safety, started some at corner last year. Now he's back to safety, along with Ryan Montgomery and Dom Magliocco. all 3 of those guys actually are returning starters, so to have them at the safety position and guys like Jason Minch as well, ready to step in and be a big part of what we're doing this season. And then at corner, it starts with Gabe Dunlap. We're excited. He was a little bit banged up last year, but to have him back to start at corner, and then opposite him, there's a number of guys. Jack Steinmetz played a lot last year. Bowden Davidson had a really good freshman season. We're excited to see him. And Caleb Keekley, our kicker, also plays corner, and Aaron Phillips, Trenton Rupp. So a number of guys who have been battling for that other corner position. Yeah, special teams, it really starts with our long snapper, CJ Otwell. He's a 5th-year guy, and And we've led the league in field goals, extra points. Obviously the offense has a big part of that as well, but CJ, our snap to kick times, our operation just has been flawless. And it starts with CJ and his leadership with that group. And then Caleb Keekley, who handles most of our kicking duties, Daniel Sullivan also kicking behind him, and some other freshmen in that mix. And then Daniel Barabay, he's been under Jared Custer the last 2 years and has learned well from Jared, and honestly looks like Jared when you see him in practice, and you can tell the work that he's put in. He'll be handling our punting duties. And then in the return game, Joey Guida, Gabe Dunlap, Bowden Davidson, all guys who've returned for us in the past that will be guys who will be back there, both in kick return and punt return for us this season. The keys for us always start, number one, with vision. We have such a clear vision, not only for the program, but for our offense, defense, and special teams units. And when we talk about vision, we say that's our identity. And number one is live within the identity of who we are in each phase. That's number one. And then secondly, we've won a lot of big games the last couple years, but we've lost some tight ones. And we've looked hard at that this offseason. And it really comes down to things you'd expect, turning the ball over, sacks or forcing sacks, or if you give up sacks, how much that impacts, and then making momentum plays and limiting the opponent's ability to make those momentum plays. So as we look at it on offense, we need to take care of the ball, no turnovers, don't take sacks, make explosive plays when they're available. Defense, the opposite, create some of those things and limit the explosives. And then the same thing on special teams, make sure we establish and change field position. So if we live in our identity and we take care of those key factors that are a part of any football game, we believe we can have a lot of success here in 2023. The President's Athletic Conference in football is just, it's amazing how competitive it is from top to bottom. And our commissioner has said this before. He believes there are 5 teams that could easily be ranked in the top 25. And there's been 5 that either have received votes or have been on the outside looking in the last couple years. So really competitive from top to bottom. It's exciting for us, and we've had different conference champions, if you look at over the last 4 to 5 years. So it's truly a league where you got to be ready to go each and every week. I mean, if you don't live within that identity or get that vision in a given week, you're not going to have success. So the PAC, very competitive. You're going to see multiple teams throughout the year in the top 25 and getting votes, and we're excited to be a part of such a great league.